Hi, my name is Jamie. I live in Saudi Arabia and I know I look amazing right now. I've got my hair braided and drying because I took a shower. I know. And I look like this because today is the day that we are going to try a palette. So I mentioned this palette a couple weeks ago and I don't know, my life has been exploding pretty much for the last 3 weeks or whatever. So I showed this palette, I swatched this palette on my shorts. If you're interested, check that out. But today I'm gonna be testing the Glaminatrix Nocturnal palette. And this is how she looks. She's real beautiful. So in this palette there are 2, 4, 6, 7 mattes and 5 duochromes or multi-chromes as they say. I've used this palette, I've used this palette a few times, but I haven't really had a good opportunity to sit down and really dig into it and play with it in the way that is gonna make me happy. I've just kind of like worn it to work, which is fine, but also I don't want to do that all the time. I don't know, I don't. And all of these colors are really beautiful. I enjoy the look of this palette, but honestly, it confuses me just a little bit. So I'm gonna get into it with you today. And if you're interested, please stick around. Also, always feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I love hearing from everyone. And yeah, let's get into it. I don't know what I wanna do. I really don't. I almost wanna, it's a beautiful palette. I'm not even lying. It's just slightly difficult for me to kind of envision something other than like this color with this color and like this color with this color. So they probably did that intentionally as well to not like confuse their people. But for me, I kind of want to see something. I don't know. I want to see a little bit more cohesion within the color story, but that's just kind of my preliminary thoughts. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and start in the black. It's called Shadow, and I'm gonna pop that in my outer corner, the huge. It's a fine black. Do is I'm gonna go into Gloom, this shade. Is that what I want? Yeah, I think that's what I want. Okay, I remember now. I think this shade is kind of interesting. It goes down as kind of a swampy brown, but then it does go in more to the yellow. I'm going to color switch off the brush that I dipped in the black with. I'm gonna put that down a little more. Each time I've used this palette, I felt like rushed and kind of not inspired per se. So I wanted to give it another, like, a very dedicated time to shine. So here we are. Then I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take Obscurity, this shade, and I'm going to kind of put that on the inner side of my eye. It's a bit more brilliant on this side than on, there we go. There's no fallout or anything, it's just not, I don't know. The texture of these mattes is a little different, I guess. Almost dry. Now I'm gonna go into Fog, this mustard shade. We love a mustard in this house. And I'm gonna blend this way. So I'm gonna cut my crease off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's where we're at. Now I'm gonna get into kind of the reason we get this palette, which is the multi-chromes. So even just like sitting here, they shift around as you move the palette around, which is really intriguing, I'm not gonna lie. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with, I need to wash my brushes. I'm gonna start with Milky Way, this kind of pinky peachy one, and I'm gonna stick that in my inner corner and kind of up. So if you're not familiar, Glaminatrix is an Australian brand, and I can't remember exactly how much this costs, but I'll put it up on screen in a minute. So I'm a little confused by the brand at the moment, just because like they are heavily discounting some palettes, and just it seems like they're dying to get rid of their stock. And this palette right now, I don't believe is available. I'm not sure if they're gonna restock it. I don't know if this is the new one or the old one. There was one that was also looking really nice, but that one sold out like that. I don't know if they're gonna restock that one either, but in any case, this one kind of appealed to me more anyway. And the thing is that like, I like parts of this palette, but I'm not sure that it's like cohesive. I mean, I'm not sure that all the parts go together. And maybe it's a matter of like actually putting down these multi-chromes that's the deciding factor with that. I don't know. Are my cut creases even? No. And I can't remember. I think I've used a glitter glue with this palette as well, just to ensure that it doesn't move. Multi-chromes definitely have a tendency to move, so if you're worried about that, I would put down glitter glue for sure. So what you're seeing is that this kind of peachy Milky Way shade goes on the eyes, very transparent opal, which is fine. I'm not mad about that. That's fine. Next up, I don't think I've used this shade actually. I'm gonna go ahead and use Constellation, this one. It's kind of a bronze to green? I don't know. I'm gonna put that on the rest of my eye. Almost seems to have a black base. Or does it? So also keep in mind that most multi-chromes are gonna change kind of their tone based on the colors around them. So there's a lot of dimension that you can create with these. Okay. I'm gonna take a bit more Milky Way on my brush, and I'm just gonna kind of pat the seam, and then I'm gonna go over it with my finger, just to kind of mix these colors together. I do kind of want to go back into Obscurity, this like very periwinkle color, and just kind of put it down right here. Just because I'm right here and I have a pointy brush. And it's not that hard. I don't know what color to go in my lower lash line. I'm sort of thinking Gloom, this kind of poopy brown color. I'm just gonna run that in my lower lash line. I don't care so much sometimes about my lower lash line. Maybe I should. Then I'm gonna go back into my fluffy brush. Go into fog, that mustard color. I do like a yellow. I think you know that by now. Kind of a mustard yellow. I'm into that. Okay. I'm gonna put down some liner and lashes and finish off my makeup, and when we come back, I'll give you my thoughts on the palette. Okay, thanks. So here's the finished look. My hair isn't quite dry. Ignore that. But I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on the palette. So I looked at the Glaminatrix website, and this palette is actually right now on sale. It is available, and right now I converted from real to dollar. It's like $37. I'm not sure what you would pay in shipping. So, so for me, this palette wasn't like terrible to ship, but it definitely is gonna cost you if you're in the US. So take that into consideration. But Glaminatrix is doing this like wacky sale where if you bundle like 2 of their palettes or something, they have been trying to get rid of their stock for like 2 weeks now, and it's a little bit odd. So I kind of side eye. I'm not really sure what they're doing. Maybe they're just like making room for more. We never know. Oh, do I need to get these filled in again? I don't know. Anyway, okay. So my thoughts on the palette. I think you already know sort of what I think. It's not that I don't like it, it's just a little difficult for me to grasp. Like, I think it all can work together. It's just, to me, all I see are these two, and then these 2 to mix. That's just where my brain goes. So I'm not disappointed to have it in my collection. I just wish the mattes were a little bit better. My threshold for mattes is pretty high. That said, the duochromes, multi-chromes are really beautiful. I do appreciate that out of a 12-pan palette, 5 of them are multi-chromes. So that is the upside. And $37 for 5 multi-chromes, that's decent math. I'm not good at math, but that's pretty decent math. So it just kind of depends on where you are, if you're willing to kind of finagle the mattes, can you take that risk? It's up to you. I'm not sure that this is my favorite palette ever, but I do really like it. So with that in mind, spend your money or don't. That's all I can really say. I think there's probably better multi-chromes out there, especially in singles. So if you're not like floored by anything, then skip it. The mattes aren't good enough, really. So that's kind of my take. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video. I hope you enjoyed the look. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.